for our 2 class where we do the yearbook. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open Photoshop, and just click it right there on Photoshop to open it up, and we're going to create a new file. And as this slowly works here, do I have to click it again? Come on. So I'm going to create a new document. Here it comes. Okay, here's a bunch of stuff that I've already used or that are preloaded, but I'm just going to show you, just in case you don't have anything over here, or you don't have what you want over here, I'm going to show you what you need over here on the right. So for this particular assignment, you want a page that is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. So we don't want to be pixels or centimeters, millimeters, or whatever. We want to be inches. 8.5 by 11, we want the orientation to be portrait, not landscape. Resolution needs to be 300 pixels per inch. Pixels per inch, not pixels per centimeter, 300. And we want the color mode to be CMYK color, none of this other stuff, CMYK. 8 bits fine, background white, doesn't matter what the background is, we'll be working with that. And so once that's all good, we say create. And now we have our senior page ready to go. Now you should talk to your senior about what you want for the background, and we'll say we're going to do Mr. V as the senior here, and so I'm going to show you how to go to a website to get free and legal pictures for whatever your design needs are. So I'm going to click on my Chrome tab here, and I'm going to unsplash.com, and this is where I'm going to find my background image, which is going to be a wave. And so you can do all kinds of different background images. It doesn't have to be something like this. It could be a picture that your senior has taken, or it can be a picture of your senior. But for Mr. V, we're going to do a picture of a wave. And I mean, you can see so many different waves, and these are all for free. They're all high resolution, good quality images. So this is a really good resource here on Splash.com. And I'm going to use this one here. I like this one. So you download it. Now, once it's downloaded, you can say thanks, and you know, it'd be nice for you to say thank you and all of that, but I'm not going to here at this time. Your downloads should show up down here in your dock where it says downloads. If not, then you're going to need to go to your desktop and go to your downloads, and you can click on downloads right here, and it'll open up a file folder like this that's your downloads. But if you have your downloads here, notice I can go ahead and grab this picture and drop it wherever I want. So I can drop it on my desktop, or I've already created this folder that is my senior page folder, and so I've put that on my desktop. In order to make a folder on your desktop, you can right click and say new folder, and then a new folder will show up. You can rename it whatever you want and put in it whatever you want. And so I have this folder on my desktop called Senior Voorhees, and I'm going to grab my picture that I just got from the internet, and I'm going to drop it right into my folder here. And so there's a couple other things I have in my folder. I've got a baby picture. That's my dad holding me when I was a couple months old. I got couple other pictures I might use. There's my prom picture with the woman of my dreams, who is now my wife. There's a picture, like a school picture, with a little picture of me. I'm probably not going to use that one. And then here's a picture of me in high school, so I might put that one on my senior page as well. I'm going to start with my background, and I am going to just grab this file and drop it right on my Photoshop file. Now notice that this is not, this doesn't cover the whole page, and I want it to. So I'm going to grab a corner and I'm going to stretch it out. Notice how I can, if I'm not holding shift, this thing squishes and smashes, and I don't want that. So I'm going to hold shift, and now it just scales. Now if I hold shift and option, it'll scale from the center and go straight out. So I don't have to hold option if I don't want to. It'll just scale from the corner. But if I hold option, it scales a little bit faster. Now when I'm done scaling, I need to let go of the mouse first, not shift and option. If I let go of shift and option, then I have this mess. But if I hold shift and option, then I let go of the mouse, boom, there it is. And then I press return to place it. Now one thing that is important to do, if you're going to end up making any changes to this image, you want to right click on this layer here where it landed and rasterize layer. You don't want it to be a smart layer, which is what it was before. There's a lot of manipulations that you can't do if it's a smart layer, and we'll do that a couple more times as we move forward. Now I'm going to move this. I am on this moving tool here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, senior page is started. There's my background. I'm going to rename this background. Even though this is already named background, I'm going to double click on this. That's layer 0. I'm going to throw that away. I don't want that layer. Okay, got my background. We're all set. If you want to leave that layer that I just threw away, you can. No big deal. It's not hurting anything. Now I'm going to decide what picture I want. I definitely need this picture of when I was in high school, so I'm going to drop that one here on my Photoshop file. And I got to decide what size I want it to be. I think I want it to be about, let's see, maybe make it a little, holding shift to make it a little bit bigger. And that's about the size I want it to be. This was taken at some function and we were eating ice cream in a cup, I think it is. Okay, now this picture I need to cut up a little bit. I don't want those guys in my picture. So even though they're friends of mine still, I don't want them in my picture on my yearbook. So I'm going to right click on my layer and rasterize layer. If I don't do this, I can't do what I'm about to do. Now I go over to this selection tool and I select the area that I don't want here, and then I press delete, and then I do Command D for deselect, and then I want to move my picture over a little bit. I want to delete some more stuff. I'm going to select this area, delete, deselect, select this area, delete, deselect. Okay, not a great senior picture kind of portrait, but that's okay. Now I want to make this a little bit bigger, so I'm going to do Command T, and I get this these handles that I can grab onto. Again, I need to hold Shift when I change the size of this picture. All right, there we go. That looks like a fine size. Now I want a baby picture in here. And so I'm going to get my baby picture, drop that, oop, come on, drop that on there. Okay, now I'm going to make this bigger. I'm holding Shift, And I'm just looking at the baby there to see, I want that to be way bigger. All right, enter. Now I can't delete anything on here unless I right click here and rasterize layer. So now my layer's been rasterized. I'm going to show you a different way to delete stuff. You can use the way I just showed you, or we can do another one here. And this one I'm going to go like this. I'm going to select the part I want to keep. Then I'm going to Shift Command I, or go to Select Inverse, and I'm going to delete what's left. Now the problem with this is when it only deletes what's showing on the piece of paper or on the artboard here. So when I move this, there's all that extra stuff. So I'm going to need to delete that stuff too. Let's see. I can just change the size. You don't want to be changing the size of stuff a whole lot because it messes up the resolution. But I'm just going to do that to try to just to try to make this video not too long. All right. So there's the baby picture, and I'm going to Command T to make it a little bit bigger, holding Shift. There we go. And now we are kind of right there. Good. Okay, now I want to move both of these down, so I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to select both of these layers. I'm going to move both of these pictures down a little bit to right there. Okay. Now, I got my background, I got two pictures. Now I need something that says Mr. Voorhees here as my senior picture for my page. So I'm going to go click on the text button, or I just push T on my keyboard, and now I have text. And so Robert Voorhees, there is my name. Oops. If you move something that you don't want to move, like I just did, just do Command Z and it'll go back to where it was. If you do Command Z again, it'll redo what you just undid. And so if you just click Command Z a bunch of times, it just makes everything go back and forth. If you want to undo something that you did a long time ago, then you go into this history, and then you can move back to like way back here where I cleared some stuff. But once you do that, once you click back here, you can't get this stuff back if you do another operation. So if I delete or if I move something, all of what I did here is gone. So now, but before, if I don't do anything, then I can just click over here and I can, that's the way the history works. It can be frustrating, but it can also be awesome. So here's my name, and I'm going to put it kind of right here in the middle, I think. And I want it to be bigger, so I can change the size of the text here in this text box, or I can just do Command T, and I can change the size here. I'm holding Shift, so I'm going to make this big. You know what? We should do something fancy with this page. Let's do my name sideways. That sounds fun. That's something you don't see on a senior page very often. Let's do that. That's great. All right. Boom. All right, and then let's put something behind it. So I created a layer, and I'm going to put that layer behind my name, and I'm going to put like a rectangle behind my name so it pops out. And so in order to make a rectangle, I create this new layer, and I'm just going to call this a rectangle. This is going to go behind my name. And then I'm going to click here, and I'm going to create this rectangle. I'm going to make it go a whole like kind of racing stripe across the page here. And then, so there it is. My name's on top of it. There's my rectangle, and I've selected on that layer. Now I just need to choose what color I'm going to make this. So I can make it, I can do a gradient, I can do all kinds of cool stuff, but I'm just going to do kind of a color, or maybe I'll choose this color, so I can use this picker to choose a color. I can choose a color here, lots of options here. And then I'm going to use this paint bucket tool, and I'm going to dump color right in there. And there it is. I'm going to deselect. There's my name with a racing stripe here, and then here are my pictures. And now if I just have like a senior quote or anything, I can put that in there. So I'm going to click on the T again, or I just push T on my keyboard. For my senior, say I want to have a lot of text and I want it to fit right here. If I click here and I hold down and then I create this square or rectangle, then I can put all kinds of stuff here. I'm just going to do a bunch of nonsense. And it'll fit inside this rectangle that I made. And there it is. And now I'm going to click on this move button again. And I want this text to be center justified. So I'm going to click there and make that center justified. I also want to change the color. I want it to be white. So I can click white up here if I can find it, or white is 6 Fs. Did I do 6 Fs? That's white. Now here's one thing that you're going to want to do on your senior page to make things stand out. See how I can't read this text here at all? If I'm on that layer and I want to do a drop shadow, I click on FX and I click drop shadow, and then there I have a preview of what my drop shadow is going to look like. That looks okay, so I'm going to click OK. And then I want to drop shadow on each of these pictures too, so I'm going to click on the picture, on the layer that has my baby picture, and I'm going to click FX, put a drop shadow on it, and then also my other picture, FX, drop shadow. Okay. And so now I've got these drop shadows on here. Now, you might also want this empty space I have left here because I want to do like a senior quote or something like that. So let's go ahead and press T, do a senior quote, and let's see, what should my senior quote be? Let's say, "Cowabunga, dude." Something I wouldn't really say, but we'll just do it here anyways. All right. I want to change this to be much bigger. Oops. And maybe I want to make it like this at an angle. Enter. Now it's over my face a little bit. I'll move it, put a drop shadow on it. And so I can change a bunch of stuff with this drop shadow. I'll show you. I can change the opacity of the drop shadow. I can change how far it is from the name. I can change a whole bunch of things. I'm going to do OK. I'll be with you in just a second. And then I have my pages all done. Now I'm going to save my page, File, Save. And since I haven't saved it yet, it's going to ask me where I want to put it and what it's called. So I'm going to call it Senior Voorhees, and I'm going to put it not on my desktop. I'm going to put it in my recent, oh, it's not showing up there. So I'm going to look at my desktop, find the folder that I have my files in. There it is, Senior Voorhees. Going to save it right there. Boom. Now I have my Photoshop file saved. This way I can come back and make any changes I want to the Photoshop file, and I can move all of these elements around. But when I'm going to put it up on the website or on for the yearbook, I need to save it as a JPEG. So I first have my Photoshop file that I can go back and fix, but I also want to do a JPEG that compresses all of the layers, so it's just one picture. So I'm going to save that, and I can change the file size so it can be much smaller or much larger depending on where it needs to go. I'm going to click OK, and now it's done saving. So I'm going to go and look at that JPEG real quick just so you can see. There it is. If I were to open this JPEG in Photoshop because I want to change something, let's see if it'll open up here. Almost done. So now I've opened up the JPEG in Photoshop, and look, all of my layers are gone. I just have this background. I can't change any of the words. I can't. So if I had a misspelling or something like that, I can't change it. But if I click on my Photoshop file that I saved, I can select anything and change it that way. So that's an important thing to do. And once you've got your JPEG, you can upload it to wherever it needs to be. And that is how you do the senior page.